Welcome to Missing Chronicles, where we delve into the heartbreaking and enigmatic mysteries surrounding disappearances. Here, we will immerse ourselves in the world of unsolved cases, thrilling search efforts, and intricate journeys. The goal of this channel is to spread awareness, foster community connections, and provide support to the families and loved ones of the missing. Join me as we embark on a suspenseful journey, hoping to uncover the truth behind these missing chronicles. Help us sustain and grow Missing Chronicles by becoming a patron on Patreon. Your contribution ensures that we can continue our investigations, share compelling stories, and work towards a world where no one is forgotten. Join us in making a lasting impact today. Devil's Hole, the haunting tale of two teens' mysterious vanishing in 1965. There's something about a place with the name Devil in its title that piques the curiosity of some people. There are countless locations all over the world which have this particular word in the title. Not only devil either. There are many other words that symbolize or mean devil or evil or some other form of something not very good or beautiful, given, somewhat ironically, to some of the world's most breathtaking and wondrous places. Sometimes the location would have gotten its name innocently enough, such as because the geology of the place simply looks foreboding and sinister, especially under the cover of night. Much of the time, these particular places are said to be cursed, enchanted, or downright evil, and the spooky and scary landscape only lends credence to these rumors and legends. So much of the time, though, these places with this particular word in the title are associated with not just devils, demons, spirits, and other otherworldly phenomena, but with real-life tragedies, disappearances, deaths, bizarre sounds, and strange lights in the sky. Today, though, we are going to focus on one place in particular where a mysterious tragedy struck, Devil's Hole, which is located in the aptly named Death Valley National Park in California, here in the U.S. The portion of the Mojave Desert contained in Death Valley National Park is the driest and hottest place in the continental U.S., near Badwater and the long trench of the desert between the Panamint Range on the west and the Black Mountains on the east is the lowest dry land in the Western Hemisphere, 282 feet below sea level, a showcase of desert extremes. The park includes one of the largest salt pans on Earth, dramatically faulted landscapes, young volcanic craters, and massive dune fields. Today, though, we're going all the way back to the year 1965. Death Valley was very different from the Los Angeles of the time, where there were uprisings happening all over the place and all that was being shown live on the evening news. Death Valley, California, was in one of the least populated parts of the state at that time. A whole different world from the more largely inhabited cities which surrounded it. On June 20, 1965, four high school buddies set out to a remote desert location about 90 miles northwest of Las Vegas. Their intent was to joy dive into a deep geothermal abyss called Devil's Hole. Sadly, two of the young men would never return from this mysterious fossil water portal. Arriving at their destination, the foursome hiked up a hot, barren hillside which overlooked a large-scale ranching operation that was nearly erasing a much smaller and nearly ancient complex called Ash Meadows within a few short years. A well-trampled trail led to the entrance of a limestone chasm that had allegedly opened a whopping 60,000 years ago after possibly some seismic event causing the roof of the cave to collapse in on itself. The four-man group, which was made up by Paul Gene Cantyri, who was a 19-year-old cafeteria worker at the nearby Nevada test site, his new brother-in-law, 20-year-old David Rose, who was a Las Vegas casino parking attendant, were there with their other friend, 19-year-old Bill Alter, and his younger brother Jack. When they scrambled under a fence enclosure posted with warning signs, perhaps due to the complicity of youth and thinking they were immune to any trouble these warning signs might be posted about, they proceeded to descend the 30 or so feet down to a ledge where the faint but fitting movements of tiny blue-gray pupfish could be observed swimming in the 8 by 60-foot pool. After suiting up with their scuba tanks, masks, and dive lights, Paul, Dave, and Bill dove into the claustrophobic waters. The temperature was nearly indistinguishable from that of their own skin. Upon entering the pool, the boys most likely disturbed the delicate algae spawning mats where the entire population of the exceedingly rare pupfish continued to prosper and breed exclusively, Jack was the only one who hadn't jumped in, as he was delegated as the one who would remain stationed on the ledge in case anything went wrong. Sometime after midnight, Paul failed to resurface, so David and Bill quickly redove into the waters in a vain attempt to locate their missing friend. Bill frantically followed. David rose down to approximately 175 feet until David too disappeared into the darkness. The bodies of the brothers-in-law were never recovered. Many people believed back then, and still do believe now, that these young men were inspired to go diving at night, despite the dangers, in this specific place because of a newspaper article from the year before which detailed a research expedition of a massive underground lake below Death Valley led by California-based professional diver Jim Houts, who would ironically dive numerous times round the clock with military personnel and other volunteer divers in their attempt to locate the missing men for 36 whole hours until the search was eventually called off. The only traces left of the two brothers-in-law were a mask and a snorkel. There was also a flashlight tied to a ledge some 100 feet below. It seemed to signal, ineffectively, the way out of this otherworldly underwater cave system. Articles detailing the unsuccessful rescue effort were published nationwide in the Las Vegas Journal dated June 22, 1965. Hout stated that he had previously dived in Devil's Hole around 300 times over 28 trips, further commenting, "It's beautiful in there. It goes straight down 160 feet like a pipe, then opens into a room that is about 300 feet long, maybe 40 feet wide. The bottom of the room is about 260 feet down, then it narrows into another tube. I dove down 315 feet, maybe it's a record, I don't know, but at the end of the tube, it opens up into something else. We don't know what the next room is, or if it's a room at all. It's like infinity." There are some very terrifying legends from the native tribes of the area about this particular place called Devil's Hole. The Timbisha told tales of water babies who would surface and swallow a swimmer or diver whole should they stay in the pool for too long. Other legends suggested that a Bigfoot-like creature, described as a legendary malevolent giant who dwelled at mountain springs and caves, would snatch up and devour unwary victims. Stories withstanding, Barbara Durham, an elder of the Timbisha Shoshone tribe who shared these stories at a 2002 workshop, admitted that she and her friends enjoyed how the pupfish tickled their toes while they played in the spring. Keep in mind here that the Devil's Hole pupfish, as they are so specifically named, are considered by experts to be the rarest fish found anywhere on the entire planet. They are even the first ever species to be classified as endangered. The fish are not important to the story at all, but it seemed worth mentioning in order to reinforce how very special and perhaps a bit magical this place actually is. As far as the two young men who disappeared without a trace back in this mystical and extremely dangerous underwater cave system decades ago, well, they have still never been found, and neither have any clues relating to what could have possibly happened to them. As for one more bit of interesting information that could lend a bit more credence to something a bit more sinister being afoot. It said that Charles Manson himself spent several days at Devil's Hole, trying to figure out a way to make it safely down into the chasm, with some saying he was convinced he would never have to come back up. Allegedly, he had an obsession with the place and was convinced there was an underwater portal to an alternate dimension, or more specifically, a portal to the underworld where he felt he and his family would be able to safely wait out the coming apocalypse that he so famously predicted. Charles Manson was allegedly trying to figure out a way to drain the hole, and it seems like he may have been given this idea by an alleged Native American legend that surfaced during the 1920s. Contending that a subterranean sect of leather-clad humanoids lived down within an eerily yellow-green lit abode somewhere in the Mojave Desert. Is this the truth? Just as with the case of these poor young men just doing what young men do and looking for a night of perhaps irresponsible but never thought to be deadly fun, we may never actually know. Thank you for watching Missing Chronicles. We have explored captivating stories and searched for answers behind the vanished. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with our latest videos. Share these videos to spread the message and assist affected families and loved ones. If you have any information related to the cases we've discussed, please leave them in the comments section. Together, we can make a difference. See you in the next Missing Chronicles.